gotten introduced to Dr. Hawking, and in my first conversation with him, through his secretary, through his computer, he was well aware of what we did with the Ansari X Prize of opening up the opportunity for all of us, anyone who wants to go into space, to go. And in that conversation, he asked whether I could help him get a flight to space. And I said, I can't do that right now, but I could fly you into 0G if you'd like. And he said, yes, instantly. Well, not instantly, as long as it took him to type the 3 letters. And so about a day later, we'd put an agreement together. We were actually going to do the 0G flight as a fundraiser for ALS. He would fly. And we put out a press release announcing that we were going to fly Stephen Hawking into 0G. A lot of publicity. I got 2 phone calls. One phone call from our aircraft operations partner. We own a 727, but we fly on an airplane certificate, on someone else's certificate, who's saying, what are you, insane? You're going to kill the most famous physicist in the world by flying him in this, we pull up 60 degrees up nose, we push over the top, and you're weightless for 30 seconds, and you go down at 45 degrees to the red line of the airplane, and you pull up, pulling out 2-point Gs. It's a beautiful experience. But it was considered harrowing. The other call we got was from a government agency. I won't mention who they are, but their initials are FAA. Who said, what are you, nuts? You're going to kill this guy, and you're not allowed to do it. They said your regulations solely allow able-bodied individuals. Now you have to understand, I had started 0G. It took me 11 years to get 0G operational, from the time I came up with the idea and pitched it to the FAA in 1993, May of 93, to the time we got approval to go was 11 years later. Right? The old saying with FAA is, the FAA is not happy till you're not happy. And you can probably feel a little bitterness here. But my comment was to the FAA lawyers, who were like saying, there's no place in the federal aviation regulations that allow you to do this. And I'm saying, well, show me where it disallows me to do this. And my conversation was, listen, I'm never going away. I am not going away. I'm going to make this happen. You're going to retire way before. And ultimately, that's what would happen. It took us 11 years to get operational. But when they said, you can't fly Stephen Hawking, it was like, that's exactly the reason we started this organization, was to fly anyone who wanted to go. And so I asked, luckily, the right question, which I said, who determines whether Professor Hawking is able-bodied? And they said, well, I would assume their physician would. To which I said, aha. And I went and got 3 of their physicians. First of all, I went and got malpractice insurance for their physicians. I got their physicians to write 3 letters to the FAA saying Professor Hawking is able-bodied to fly in 0G, to which they said, it's your ass. Not quite those words. And we flew him, and we had a beautiful, perfect flight. We had a big press conference at the Space Shuttle landing facility in Orlando. I mean, it's just massive amount of media there. And one of the things that was interesting was, first of all, I said, our intention is to fly one parabola, one 30-second weightless parabola, and give this world's expert in 0G, in gravity, the experience of 0G, which was our intention. And if things go really well, we'll do 2. And they asked him at that pre-flight press conference, why are you doing this? Why are you effectively risking your life? Because here's a man who is got pulmonary issues, he's got severe osteoporosis because he's not gravity laden, he has cardiovascular issues from being bed rest. And he said, not the exact quote, but you can look it up, he said, I believe that over the decades ahead, the human race will have many challenges from nuclear, from viral, from asteroids, from whatever it might be, that it is critical for us to diversify the human race beyond the bounds of Earth. And I want to publicize this and get people excited about space. Anyway, when we went up there, We set up an entire emergency room on board the airplane. We had 3 physicians, 2 nurses. He was wired for EKG, cardiovascular, everything. And we flew the first parabola. He was rock solid. We flew the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth. And at the 6th, his 2 nurses said, Professor Hawking would like you to spin him around. Now, how they know this and whether they were getting even with him, I don't know. But on the 7th and 8th parabola, we actually spun him around in 0G. And at that point, I called the flight. I said, that's enough. I don't want to snatch, whatever, victory from the jaws of defeat or whatever it is. And we went back, and he had an amazing time.